What's up, chill gamers? This is Jaeger ID, and today in the lounge with me, I've got Lunatic Jay ID and Thrush ID. We're going to be talking about our initial thoughts on Dragon Age Inquisition. So first up, the crux of any RPG game, the customization. Jay, what do you think about the customization?
The customization in this game is quite honestly ridiculous. There's a lot to do. Like, particularly in multiplayer, there's not as much, but it's still pretty intense. But like with a single player campaign, when you're playing through, you can build weapons, and each weapon, depending on what you've done and how the materials you use to build it, depends on how the weapon turns out, which is just, it's awesome. It's awesome that that's in this game. It really is.
See, I like that you went with the deeper customization part, whereas I had to restart my game twice just to get the initial character build, like facial features, race, and everything like that. I'm very excited to play as a Kunari, because I wanted to be one for a while. They're very intimidating. They are horny bastards.
Yes, they are.
And I feel that describes me very well. Thrush, what do you think? I know you're not too familiar with RPGs, but did you like being able to build your own character?
I liked it. I thought there was a lot of stuff. The only thing I didn't actually like about the customization, it's not anything to do with the content, it's the way that they laid it out in the game. I found the little sliders for selecting which was which.
Does anyone have a
like,
plan?
if I liked one, I could not remember which one it was. I'd actually have to slide all the way through until I found it again. As opposed to just being able to go and, like, say, for example, click the afro if I wanted to, like, have afro. If there was a picture of an afro, I would know. I could just go right back to it. Boom. I got an elf with an afro. Like, what more do you want?
Oh yeah, that's a good point, actually. But see, I thought you were talking about those the little X and Y axis things that you can do. You could do a double chin.
That was really cool. Like, the whole being able to move your joystick around to manipulate, say, the placement of the ears. Like, I know for me on the elf was, I spent a lot of time just figuring out where the ears go, the size of the ear lobe, and all this jazz that I hadn't seen before, which was really, really awesome.
It really helps to make your character your own.
Yeah.
So moving on, one of the best things about Dragon Age has always been their graphics. I personally love, well, you got to see Liliana early on, and she went from looking like a plastic, you know, sort of model where you're informed that she's attractive, but compared to Morgan, who even in the same, you know, graphical generation, looks hot, now actually looks like a human being. Liliana, she looks pretty, you know, and which is unfortunate because my dude's ugly as sin. But yeah, what did you guys think?
I've never seen anything like that.
The graphics are really good. The only thing I find I have yet to really feel like this is next gen. And I know I've heard like a lot of developers say that the reason why like Xbox 360 and PS3 lasted so long is because they got really good at squeezing the most out of the components because they'd been working with them for like almost 10 years, give or take. So I feel like we probably haven't seen what PS4 and the Xbox One can actually do yet. Like we haven't hit the breaking point yet, so to speak. So I haven't yet been like where I picked up a game and been like, holy shit, I'm so glad I spent $500. But it's awesome. So far I'm really like it. It's not taking anything away. Like I know I loaded up Master Chief Collection the other day and went back to Halo Combat Evolved, and seeing some blocky faces and some mouths not moving and stuff was a little weird. So it's a welcome change from that for sure.
And definitely one of the graphical comparisons you've got to make is with Diablo.
Oh, definitely.
I think if Diablo, well, it was a 2-year-old game when it finally got onto Xbox One, and they didn't do anything. They didn't, you know, revamp anything. Yeah, we got the DLC, and yeah, it was like one big bad version, but it wasn't. There was no improvements. I felt like even Tomb Raider, the definitive edition, got a little bit of a bump from the 360 to the one.
Once when I was in the
But
deep
Diablo,
roads,
you know, they had 2 years to do it and they didn't do much. This, the top-down perspective, I love.
I think I've done
It
the
looks
exact
great.
same thing.
None of the environments look stale. You know, even though my biggest experience right now is with the multiplayer. I haven't seen anything that looks too like a playset, which is what Dragon Age 2 felt like. You know, they reused the same environments and it looked really artificial.
One down.
And this game is working for me so far.
See, and that's funny because to me, like, I'm not super fond of the campaign yet. I've only really gone on after the tutorial, maybe my first mission or two, give or take. I believe it's like saving some priestess woman. I don't know. She looked very religious. I'll just go with that.
That's awesome.
it was to the point where, like, yeah, the forces are well done, and there's no like, hey, look, I just passed that boulder. Hey, look, a boulder. Hey, look, a boulder. Sometimes,
You're in a mountain range though. So.
but sometimes forests need to be a little
More dense.
cut and copy. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like having all these weird like trees that were like always like slightly different. It's like, no, at a certain point, people come and they put down trees and they place them in rows and they grow it straight, and that's
That's
how
an
it
orchard.
happens.
That's not a forest. That's an orchard.
Okay, well, we're discussing Dragon Age, not nature here. So let's keep it going. Jay, what'd you think?
Dragon Age graphics. Honestly speaking, looking at the graphics on this game, the way it is, the design, this is like the best parts of the first Dragon Age Origins, and then Dragon Age 2 when they changed it up to like a more odd style. It's like they took the best 2 parts and put them together. I mean, the graphics aren't amazing, spectacular, blow your mind, but in reality, I mean, there's a lot of detail there. Like in that first tutorial scene during the prologue, when that green crap's in the sky from the breach, when you're walking across the ice, you can see it reflecting in the ice. You can see it reflecting off your character's lips, and they're like, and then the way the grass moves, and there's a lot of detail in there. I mean, it's not visually stunning, oh my god, but the level of detail kind of makes up for that for me.
The devil's always in the details. If there was no reflections in the ice, you can bet your ass somebody would be complaining about it.
Oh yeah.
And I'm glad you brought up Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2, because I want to know what you think about how the gameplay stacks up.
It's been a long time since I played the first 2, and now I feel like I have to go back and replay them.
See, because I know Dragon Age Origins on PC got that sort of top-down strategical thing that we have now
Yeah.
in Inquisition.
I think it's called Tactical Combat View, I believe is what they're referring to it as.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the combat feels smooth. It feels easy. Pick up and just run with it. I mean, it kind of sucks your limit on the amount of abilities you can have equipped at once, which, you know, that's just the trade-off you get for playing on a console. But I mean, the combat's fairly straightforward, fairly easy, and then for the big boss fights, I mean, you have the tactical cam. You just gotta know how to use your people right. But all in all, the combat on this game feels a lot like the other 2 Dragon Age, just with other stuff. Plus, there's jumping. Finally, in Dragon Age, there's jumping.
It's like freedom.
Yes.
What is
be
with
honest.
games and holding back basic movement? Halo for years you couldn't run,
Oh,
and apparently you couldn't, like, if I couldn't jump this game, I probably would have stopped playing it already.
well, before, a lot of RPGs, they use the non-jump feature as kind of a way to keep you contained within a specific area.
Then put
Yes,
me in
you
a
don't jump
wheelchair.
around like crazy.
Then put me in a wheelchair and call me Professor X.
I think Fable 3 took the 3rd game to get jump.
Yeah,
And then it was just like, oh my god, we can jump over a fence! Guys, this is insane!
Yeah.
Whereas a fence, like, before would be like, okay, gotta go all the way around.
yeah,
Like
because
that
when
claptrap scene in Borderlands 2, where he opens the big door and there's just a line of stairs. Like his worst nightmare.
yeah.
Yeah, claptrap.
It's just when you add the jumping ability into a game, you open it up for people to find those glitch spots and crap. Little
See, I
cheaty
find it
spots.
interesting that you're complaining, Thrush, because you're not entirely, familiar with the RPG game style. So what did you think of the combat?
I liked it. I kind of wish that I could let my PCs, not my PCs, my 3 other party members do their own thing, and I feel like at times the AI is lacking. Just not in terms of the enemies, but in terms of my own party. Like I feel like if I'm not commanding them as to what to do, I feel like they are kind of useless. For example, my mage, I needed him like constantly casting freezing spells, and that's all I needed him to do. And he would like insist on like trying to protect and like cast all these protection spells. And that's not what I needed.
Well,
So I constantly felt
In
like
Dragon Age Origins, you could do that from the tactics menu.
yeah, you
Get
can
everyone to do what you want them to.
you can adjust
which
their
is
AI
now.
a little bit.
oh, see now I learned things.
Yeah, there's like 4 basic AI commands for your party, and like essentially come down to one's attack, one's defense, one's more specialized, and one's like whatever the main character you're doing is what they're gonna do.
Okay.
And there's one more thing you should know, Thrush, and this is when I saw this in the options menu. There are connect commands.
That I did see, and I
You
tried
can be
to
like,
turn them
this
on.
person heal, that person attack my target. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I
that's
saw that, and I didn't fully understand them yet, so I just left it off.
oh dude, that's like next level in-game battle tactics.
And did you see the list? The list is huge.
Oh yeah.
It's comprehensive, and I like that. In Rise, specifically, like, you know, being like fire when your arrows were ready was great. But this is tactics. This is like, I don't have to do, you know, go into my radial menu and choose, you know, mage, heal, this, heal. No, this is like, dude, you do this, go.
Yeah.
That is epic. I really like that.
That's cool. I didn't realize that was there.
Yeah. And honestly,
See, now you know.
the tactics command menu where you can freeze the game and choose what you want to do next. I love that just because I grew up as an original RPG player. I'm used to that turn-based style gameplay, so that's a throwback for me, and I love that. Just stop and think for a second.
See, for me, I
shit.
come like the first games I ever played were really RTS games and like the original like platformers like Mario and those types of things.
Yeah.
So I'm used to the RTS where it's like, if you're not constantly moving around in that top view, like time does not slow for you. You're either killing things or getting killed by things.
Oh yeah. I'm the dude that put like 300 hours into Final Fantasy VII.
Fair enough.
See, okay, and this is perfect. So, Lunatic, how about you teach Thrush a little bit about the story, so the first 2 games. What happened then, and how did they lead into the Inquisition?
Oh, it's like how in depth you want to go in the story for the first game, because each of the 6 origin stories.
Okay, let's keep in mind that Thrush is a little new to the series, and we can't have him a drooling moron by the end of your sermon.
Yeah.
We need him to kind of understand what's going on.
It's like the second game, Dragon Age 2, was pretty straight up.
No, first one.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like the first one, there's variations depending on which origin story you went with, and then of course your decisions affected like later on stuff. So it's like
Okay,
there's like
that's why the game was called Origins to begin with too. Is that
Yeah.
you got like open-ended beginning,
yeah.
which I don't know any other game that does such a wide. That gives you such a wide variety of options to choose from at the start.
Yeah.
X-Men Origins Wolverine, the game for Xbox 360.
In this game,
Got 9.7 on my personal list.
No,
personal
no,
list.
that's a lie.
It was
Well,
wonderful. It warmed my heart for many years.
was like this Dragon Age doesn't do it, but like the first Dragon Age Origins did it, in which depending on which character you picked, like if a human, dwarf, or elf, depending on how other people talk to you. Like if certain people were nice to you as a human, they like look down on you because you're an elf, because elf were considered a lower class. You know, and the first game did it. The second game like continues on some of that, but this game, not so much because you're the Herald of Andraste, so everyone reveres you, so they don't really talk down to you. Although
spoilers, I really haven't made it that far. Like
Oh my
I
god.
restarted that many times.
it's literally right after the prologue.
I don't think I finished the prologue.
You're a
anyway.
bad.
I'm terrible. I can't. Look, okay, no, it was just like, I can't live with your face.
Yeah.
You're gonna be there the entire time, and I can't do this.
Yeah. Well, it's like the very first game was all about the Fifth Blight and the Grey Wardens and how they're going to handle it. And your decisions like molded how the final battle was going to go, depending on what you did, depending on whether or not your warden died or lived, and then you chose who you had a
Whether
relationship
or not
with.
you had a godchild.
Yeah, and then depending on what you did with Morgana and the stuff with her, or however you say her name, I can't ever say it right, but
Morgan. Morgan.
yeah.
I was thinking Morgana, the from Super Street Fighter, like
Yeah.
crossover type thing. Wow.
That's Morgan as well.
Oh.
Yeah. But depending on like what you did with her,
Both are terrible at this.
I know, right? I can't ever say her name right. It's all theory and legend to me, so that's where her name comes from. But depending on what you did with her, and how your relationship progressed, and if you played the Witch Hunter DLC, depends on whether or not you went through the portal with her, whether or not you had a kid that was regular human, whether or not the kid was like a old god, or you killed her, or she killed you, or then that's going to play into this game. But I don't know where yet. I just know it plays a factor later on. And like that was the basis of the first game. Deal with the blight, and then what your warden's going to do after the blight's done. Second game was between the Templars and the mages, the circle, and what happened there. And then, of course, no matter how you played it, the circle gets destroyed, and all the mages rebel.
And we're seeing a lot of that in this game, right? Because I know from the little bit of the campaign I played so far, it's been a lot of like, oh, let's fight the angry Templars, or let's the rebelling mages, or whatever. So
a lot of the mages,
the way they lead into each other too. Like Dragon Age 1 led into Dragon Age 2 by having the champion of Kirkwall be a survivor from the initial attack of the Blight
on Lothering.
And now, Lothering, yeah. And now this is kind of like this was a peace treaty that got blown up by the thing in the sky. I forget what it's called. Oh my god.
Well, someone like used some kind of magic to create something that caused the rift.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh right, the rift. So the rift blew up. The peace meeting caused like that. The summit that was called sort of stopped the war that started in Dragon Age 2.
Yeah.
And now this is just keeping the conflict going.
Yeah.
The
whole conflict between the mages and the Templars comes from the fact that magic is considered like dangerous, so mages have to be controlled. They have to live within the circle towers. They can't just roam around free. They have to be in check. And the Templars...
It's a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy, you know. If you treat someone like they're gonna go crazy, they're gonna go crazy.
The Templars kind of abused their power a little bit and mistreated mages, and mages got tired of it, and it led to an uprising.
Okay. So, one big topic that can make or break a game is multiplayer. You know, we've seen it in Destiny, you know, PvP. We've seen it with Diablo, you know, getting 4 party members together. How is the multiplayer in Dragon Age 3?
I'm personally really liking it. It is a little repetitive. Like to me, it's very much how I view Warframe. For those of you who have played that, free to play on I think all systems now, from PC to Xbox One, PS4, and possibly the older generations. I'm not sure. In that you run through the missions, and the missions themselves aren't necessarily important, but the grinding of your character and the items and whatnot is really what you're going for. And you basically don't expect to win. You just expect to grind out levels and gear so that you can then go back and start just winning constantly.
Yeah. I mean...
And it's fun. I'm enjoying it. I mean, it's not what I expected. Like, I kind of wish I could take my exact guy from campaign and say, here we go, I'm level 5, I have this dragon DLC dagger and this like dragon DLC like coat thingy jiggy and kill things. But if they want me to do a second character, as long as I can keep it, like, then that's fine. And hopefully some of the gear will translate back and forth, because right now I have yet to really see the gear go back and forth at all.
Well, I think it's a nice little bit of gameplay and story integration. The multiplayer isn't really your character. It's your character's soldiers. You're being sent out to carry out these missions, and technically you are part of the Inquisition, so you are still part of the story. You are affecting, technically, the game world, but you're not, your main character.
Yeah, in all honesty, we haven't beat one yet, so we don't know to the degree we affect the real story. I mean, in all honesty, we could probably beat one of these and it opens up something different, like another little plot or just an extra line of text when you're talking to somebody in a interaction just because you completed this one multiplayer mission.
No, that's a cool idea. And before we wrap this up, let me throw this out to you guys. How do you think, because the idea I just had for multiplayer was, so we're two different guys. We have your main story, the Herald of
Andraste.
Andraste. Okay, I was gonna go Herald of Andrea, but let's go with that. And you have this secondary guy. Now, what if, for example, at the war table there, where you're going and selecting where to send troops and who to scout, what if you could do those missions as your party, and say you pick a mission and it had to be scouts? That means you guys would have to all load in as some sort of assassin type shadowy character, and you'd need to keep it low in stealth to actually beat the mission parameters. And you'd have, say, 3 or 4 different ways of beating every mission, but you'd have to follow those specific parameters based on who you pick to beat those missions. That would directly affect your campaign.
Well, I know.
How angry would it make you to have your friends messing up your campaign?
Yeah. Well, I know.
How much do you trust your friends?
Not enough to let them mess with my campaign.
The RPG people, MMO players, are very, very particular about their worlds.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, I know BioWare said they really wanted to do a multiplayer, like full-on multiplayer, but the complexity of it was just too much for them at this time, so that they couldn't do it and keep the game on a decent release time. So, I mean, it sounds
Not
awesome
only
if they could have
that-
done it. So let's really hope for the next one they bring it out, because
Okay.
there will be another Dragon Age.
See, I think people short sell games. Like Destiny, a lot of people are complaining that it doesn't have a lot of story, but I feel that they divided the game. They did the single player campaign, they did the strikes, they did, PvP. They have the game being pulled in all these different directions. Something had to suffer. So it's the same thing with Dragon Age. Dragon Age, they went more with the world, with the story, building the characters, building, everything that you were going to play as a single player. So the multiplayer had to suffer.
True.
And I've got to ask you guys, how do you feel? Because I know I bought the special edition. $10 more for a little bit of digital content that I can't do anything with. I do not regret my purchase at all. I definitely want to play this game all the way through. Possibly a lot of multiplayer. What about you guys?
I have yet to regret my purchase. I'm hoping I don't regret my purchase, because I did sort of go, I don't really know this game, I should probably just get the $69.99 version.
Is that all you've got?
But then the guy in me with the bank account said, you know what, $10, skip Subway one time around, you'll be just fine. Hopefully I don't regret not having a sub in place of this game.
Yeah.
It could happen down the road, but as for right now, I'm gonna call this the beginning of our Dragon Age review, and before we hit the mid game and the end game. Right now I'm happy.
Oh yeah, this game is $59 straight up, worth the game. Period.
Damn you Americans, man.
And then another $10 with all the extra stuff it got me. I'm like, all right, if you played Elder Scrolls Oblivion, you paid extra for horse armor. I paid $10 extra. I got weapons, armor, and a horse. So even if I paid just $10 for that extra horse, that freaky looking bog horse, totally worth it. Totally worth it.
And a throne made of a dragon skull.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
That's badass.
Yeah, I mean, if for $10 more, it's worth it. I mean, you're already gonna spend the money.
Dragon Age 3 gets the green light. You should definitely go out and get it if you're a fan of RPGs, customization, stuff like that. FPS players are going to suffer a little bit, but it does break the monotony. Halo Master Chief Collection, Call of Duty, Destiny, all these games have been shooters. This is a really good RPG game for the Xbox One. We all think it's great, and you should definitely get it.
Worthy of the Legion.
So, for the Chill Gaming Lounge, I am Jaeger ID.
I'm Thrush.
I am the lunatic.
And we will see you all in the lounge soon.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Sweet. Alright.
Bye.
Do you do that in every fucking video? Give me 2 seconds, guys. My parents were trying to talk to me as I was going on.
Alright, you
I'm just gonna find out what they want and I'll be back.
might want to restart the Skype call.
Yeah, okay. Do
We're
that.
gonna have like an hour and 30 minutes to go through.
I'll call you back in 2 minutes.
Alright.
Okay.